Hey, how you all doing? Okay, so I'm going to address a lot of criticisms and such and trying to put some things in the past here. But first let me preface this video by saying that it will probably be a long video. I don't know now, I'm just talking. But the video will be timestamped, okay? Or indexed, however you want to term that. Which means if you go to the description box, you'll see some numbers and a little description next to it. If you click on the numbers, that'll jump you to that portion of the video. Okay, so you don't have to sit through an hour-long video or whatever this may be. You can go right to the portion you want to. Second, let me just say also that I purposely make these types of videos boring in nature because it works like a filtering system. If you're here for the drama and the lulls and the spectacle and shit, well, you're not going to get that with me. At least not in this nature of video, right? You're going to have to go somewhere else for that. So it works for a filtering system for those types of people. If you're genuinely interested, right, and you have genuine concern, well, then the nature of the video shouldn't really bother you too much. Okay, so enough of that. Alright, let me just state then, the first thing I want to talk about is to offer my thanks, and I'm grateful. Thank you for the folks who offered their voices of concern for my mother-in-law. You know very well, if you know me long enough, that I don't talk about personal things on YouTube. I just want to let those of you who were concerned, who voiced your concern, to know that she is out of the hospital. It didn't get bad this time. It will eventually. Which, alright, I'm not going to go into everything. I just want to thank you for your concern. So thank you. And I'm also thinking much of what Tattoo Skin is going through right now too, for these past year. And I wish him and his family well. And man. Alright, so thank you. Okay. Let us move on into some other things then. The next thing I want to talk about is EagleEye1975. I had just come across today, or last night, and making my video today, into his situation about the state taking his kids away. Now, I've seen, I wish him well. I wanted to say that, and if I wasn't so goddamn broke, I think I should be able to scrape $20 together though, and send him some support that way. But I want to offer my support here, at least verbally, for him, and I'll leave a link to his video where you can go into the whole thing for yourselves and figure out what you want to do for yourselves. Okay. But to see this. Oh, I want to say this real quick. I'm not going to really be linking a lot of things here. If you're not aware of all the stuff that I'm talking about, I'm sorry. I'm not going to spend any real time going over the details. I'll leave a couple of links, like I said, I'll leave a link to EagleEye so you can investigate for yourself what's going on. And also, when I talk about some other stuff, I'm not going to be going over the history. So if you're unfamiliar with this, I'm sorry. You'll have to do the work for yourselves. Okay. So it was great to see the skeptical heretic come out in support like that, especially given the history there. That's wonderful. It was wonderful to see. Now, people are being skeptical of EagleEye and such, and looking at his comments and watching his videos, the man steps up, right? He addresses all the criticisms, and I mean, people are like, well, is he just scamming, things of this nature? Maybe he really is this or that. I have never seen such open honesty here on YouTube from somebody. I can go into more why I believe EagleEye. You'll have to make your own decisions for yourself. But go watch his videos, read his comments, and make your decisions. Okay? Alright, so I picked up some comments here and there that I wanted to look at. When I looked at Skeptical Heretic's video, the first comment I saw was this one. And the first thing I thought to myself was, oh boy, he just doesn't understand. What does this person say? He says, I've talked to this dude a few times on Stickum. He absolutely despises collectivism and any sort of communal good. He is a straight up pull yourself up by the bootstraps and go die kind of guy. In fact, he is exactly the type of person that only gains empathy when his situation affects him personally, and when this passes, any insight he gained will pass too. You're a good guy for trying to help a guy out, Skep, but I advise you to take care in what you are hitching your wagon to. That phrase sounds familiar. Well, the first thing I thought was, I know exactly what Eagle Eye's response would be here. It's force collectivism through state enforcement is what the problem is. That the state will take care of everything. Okay? That's what the problem is. Too much fucking state. Do people not understand that? And this hitching your wagon to stuff. What would be lost here? I mean, you lend your voice of support for somebody, and maybe you give them $20, and let's say somehow it turned out that it was all a lie or some bullshit. Thinking of some other YouTube users. What's really lost on you? Huh? $20 and maybe a little face. Oh boy. And then you learn. You know, at some point you have to make your own decisions. You live by them. If you made a mistake, then you move on. You learn by it and you go on. Alright, but I mean, there's a point where skepticism goes too far. But it's also, like, in this particular situation, yeah, if you don't know the person, then... Alright, but the guy has a whole bunch of videos there. Go check him out. Discuss with him before you make your own decision. So I saw his comment, and sure enough, yeah, he says, Eagle Eye replies, I am against government forced collectivism, because I believe in the goodness of individual people rather than the forced tyrannical so-called charity of a government. True charity comes from individuals giving of their own free will. Community used to matter in this country. Now people just say, why isn't the government doing enough to help these people? Your failure to see the difference is enough to make me weep for you. So we can work some politics into this situation. Now this was a comment on Eagle Eye's video, and there's going to be some genuine concern. It's like, well, wait a minute, we're not really getting the whole story here in this, but this person here, I'm sorry, is just naive, alright? It's just naive about the way the world works. And I'm not going to go into the whole spiel here, but if you've had any interaction with the state, especially in regards to child services, you would not be making comments like this. This person, also, they say, if my son was hurt, I doubt this person even has kids. My God, man. Can you imagine having all your children taken away from you? Can you fucking imagine that shit? I have kids. I don't know what I would do. But I know I would lose my fucking mind not having them around me. And not knowing that they're being taken care of in a good fashion. But, you know, there are people who go overboard, I think. But rightly so. You have to take it as, I believe, in a case-by-case basis when it comes to the state. I often hear people making sweeping statements about the state, but you know, Eagle Eye has had interaction with the foster parent. Well, the person who's taking care of his kids right now. I used to work. Let me just tell you something. I used to work for a lady who was a foster parent. She was a foster parent for like 30 years. She's adopted many kids. She had so many kids in and out of there from the state. And I learned a lot about, through her and through these children that there is a need, okay, for dealing with, obviously, we're dealing with child abuse and neglect. And if you've seen the things that I've seen, if you know about it, oh God, you would not. I'm not trying to make a defense of the state, because I'm sorry, the way that they have handled so much of the child services stuff is absolutely disgusting. And so, but I also try to be fair, and we have to understand that there are a lot of people out there that really hurt their fucking kids. And so in some instances I can understand how people overreact, because once you live through that shit enough, you see it enough, and that becomes your world. You don't become desensitized like some people say. You become oversensitized, and you have to keep that in check. So I think, in defense of some of the people in the state, in these child services, I think that's what happens. I think that they overreact, and that looks like what has happened to EagleEye. Like I said, we don't have all the details, and he has to be careful what he says, because he's be going to court here pretty soon. But there are also more nefarious things out there, folks. There are vested interests, moneyed interests, you must understand. And when these things are possibly threatened or need to be justified, shit like this will happen. Right? People will go out of their way to hurt other people's lives for no other reason than to protect themselves or to justify their station in life. And it's absolutely fucking disgusting. There's lots of other reasons. If it is the case that what's happening at the school where his children go is all wrapped up in that situation where they are trying to alleviate themselves from their responsibilities or whatnot, then yeah, that happens. Anyways, okay, so there's a lot I can talk about on all that, but we'll leave it for another time. Okay, and finally, well, I don't know, finally, maybe not finally. Okay, I want to address the HB13 stuff. Now, I have a problem here, okay? I don't like discussing all this stuff when the other person is not here, okay? But I left it all hanging, and so I'm kind of in a situation where, well, there's some things I want to address. Some people made some videos. Well, Gratex made a video. I'm going to address that. So I want to just get some of that stuff out of the way. I don't want to dredge up the whole shit again, but it's there. I've got all my videos on everything private. Well, I got all my videos privated except for my masculinism videos right now, and I'll be bringing some back as time goes on. But I just couldn't deal with anything at the time for this past week. But I have no problem dealing with any criticisms. If you have a problem with me, I will address you directly. Okay? I have no problem with doing this. But I'm not going to be opening up my other videos regarding HB. I'm not going to be talking about the history really at all here, just except for what people have left comments on. If he comes back, hopefully he can address this openly and honestly and forthrightly. If not, well, then that will just be the end of it, and I'll just deal with any more future criticisms that people have. The reason why I'm dealing with that is because, well, some of these folks I've had interactions with for a long time. Some of these folks are other YouTubers on here that have addressed it, so the stuff is out there. So I want to get it behind us, or at least for myself, right? If nobody else wants it, then fine. Then don't watch the video. What can I tell you? Okay, so let's address some of that stuff, okay? So the first comment I wanted to address was TheTruePooka. He came on my video, he said, I'm confused about one thing. Well, more than that, but this is what caught my eye. In this play-by-play, you say you have Afrocentric conspiracy videos favorited, to which you replied, fucking with racists. I'm guessing you're trolling them by pretending to be one, hence favoriting the videos. If that's the case, how can you fault anyone for coming to the conclusion that you're a racist if you're trying to trick people into thinking you are one? Okay, so the TruePooka is confused here on what happened, and does not state it correctly what I said in the video. But let me state two things here real quick. First of all, if people want to go around saying I'm a racist, it's not the end of the world, right? But I also believe that a word like that is used as a weapon, okay? But I can deal with it. I can deal with it. It's not a problem for me. I'm not trying to hide anything here. You want to think that I'm a racist? Well, that's fine. You can think that. You're free to have your own opinions about anybody you want. Once you start getting into other stuff, though, and you start saying a lot of shit about people, it'd be nice for you to actually show why you believe that. Otherwise, I don't really have much respect for anybody who does that, right? So, to the TruePooka then. What happened was I had somebody going around, and with every time I was mentioned, they had to mention that I'm a racist. And so what I did was I set my channel to look like, not, I mean, it wasn't, I didn't go into that much detail. I put a background of a racist. I put some videos there of some of the Afrocentric stuff. So when HB was going around saying that I'm a racist, and they go to check out this Dewada man, this racist, I gotta go check him out, gotta go fight these racists, right? Well, they would go see that it looks like, oh, wait a minute. I thought a racist was a white person against all the people of color. What's all this black stuff doing on here? Oh, wait a minute. There's black racists? That can't be. Black people can't be racists. Yeah. So you see, I was fucking with the people who would call me racist, right? I explained this in another video. But even in the comment, that you got me quoted wrong here. I said I was, quote, fucking with the people who call me racist. Or fucking with the people who say I'm racist, right? Something like that. Not fucking with racists. Alright, so then your whole string of comments after that had some other stuff in there, but it was all based off of just a misunderstanding of what I was doing there. So, alright, let's move on. Now, Boo Boo has had my back on some of this, and she makes a great point. Why are people coming to me, and not why were people coming to me with all this shit, and not actually going to the person making the accusations and asking them for it, for the reasons why, right? It's a good thing. Now, we're talking about the pedo thing. These are separate issues to me, although they're connected. Okay? Now, she says about my video, she says, the thing I don't like about this is you're operating on the premise that somebody actually said he was a pedo. I guess maybe you have to. Well, yeah, I have to, because that's what he was saying. I mean, that's the whole point of how this whole thing went down, was that he was going around, and I have all the comments, and I have his video, and he was going around saying that I was the one doing all this. Saying that he was getting these accusations and that he can't have that. right? Saying that he can't have that sort of thing in his life, meaning that he's concerned about it. And I was the scapegoat. So yeah, that was what this whole thing is. I was addressing that. You know, and it was just getting crazy. It was like, how can I show the evidence and then people still actually say the opposite? It's like it's right in your face. Do you not see it? And yeah, nobody is questioning the character of HB. Why is he doing this? And why are they not pressing him for, you know, the evidence? And there's nothing there. And then poof, he's gone. So yeah, I agree with you, Boo Boo. I did all that I could do, and that was that. Let's look at Bob Chaos. Has still got a problem with me, obviously. He says that he didn't always agree with HB, but scaring the guy off YouTube because of a dumb dispute is not something I will be forgetting soon. So clearly, there's two perceptions here. That I had something with HB leaving YouTube, which I didn't, and then the truth that I didn't. The matter of the fact is, like I explained in my videos, I was the one who was scared. I wasn't scared, but if we're going to use that word scaring, I was the one that was justified in feeling that way, because he was setting me up. He had already set me up on YouTube as the fall guy for his accusations that he was getting. Okay? Can you understand that, Bob? He had already set me up on YouTube and obviously convinced some people like you, Bob. Now, if some shit happened to him in real life, not on YouTube life, but in real life, what would stop him from continuing that line of discussion, continuing that storyline that the Waterman is the one? What's to stop him from doing it? He displayed that on YouTube life. Why wouldn't he do it in real life if the shit ever really did hit the fan for him? Yeah, because obviously, if it frightened him enough in real life and YouTube life, then how is it going to be when it affects him in real life? Yeah. Okay. Enough, you Bob. Can you get it in your head? Alright, let's move on to Gratex. Good God, man. Oh, you have no courage of your convictions, and you're so rambly, and just make an argument, and I'll deal with all that shit one at a time here, fucker. So what does he say, Gratex? He says he quotes himself as uploading a video called Never Ending Lives of Hannibal. Oop, I didn't want to say the word, but okay, HB13. That would be defamation. Try paying attention just once. Please, for the sake of the precious children of the world. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do to you here. Please pay attention. Now, somebody left a comment to him that was very apt. I should have grabbed that and put it here. But it's real simple, Gratex. HB came at me with a bunch of shit, a bunch of accusations. You get this? HB came at me with a bunch of shit. I had to show that those were lies. And I did that. I don't see how it cannot be any clearer than that. Somebody said shit about me. I show what went down. Here's the lies. Now what? That's not defamation. That's showing the fucking truth. And so he goes on to say in this other comment, I don't give a fuck about the pedo claim. And I doubt the Waterman really gives a fuck about it either. Well, that's bullshit. I take that shit seriously. Obviously, you must be naive about the world as well. Now, you made a video calling me a child molester. It looks like you took that video down. I'll have to go look again. But what was so shocking of your stupidity in that moment was it was HB that you should have been making that video to. because you're sitting there telling me to get over it, that people are calling someone a child molester and pedophile. Do you see the irony in what you did there? Obviously you must have. You took the video down. Or maybe you privated it. I don't know. But now you make this new video to me where you're like, you're saying that I'm saying nothing. Here, I'm saying the words to you. Do you not understand my words? I think you suffer from what Professor Anton calls authoritative disambiguation. Essentially that means you want someone to tell you what's right and wrong. You want someone to tell you how to think. Essentially, there's more to it than that, but that's essentially it. If you don't hear it from the authority, then, well, you don't know what to think. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Gratex. I never make videos. I hardly make videos over 10 minutes long. The only reason why I made these longer videos is because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to address. A lot of bullshit's being flung around over the place that I gotta talk about. That all kind of gets tied into each other and all plays off of each other. I mean, if you want the simple version, but you know, there's a lot of nuance in all these things, so it's when I say the simple versions, some other fucker comes along like Socrates. Oh, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that. Well, which one is it, assholes? Would you like the long version? Would you like me to get into all the details? Or would you just like me to give you the quick overview? Either way, right? You're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. So, I mean, this is it for me. I'm not going... I'd like to get back to making other videos about stuff. And not this stupid ass shit. God damn it. Now, the simple story, Gratex, is that HB made a video talking about the age of consent, right? Okay? He did that in a... I only saw the video once. I didn't even look at the comments. And I don't even remember right now what was discussed. Too bad that the video's not still up. But I could tell the nature of the video was talking about it in a... You know, these things get used against people. It's just so fucking ridiculous. I can't believe that. This is what happened. So he made the age consent video. I think that he was naive in thinking that he can make such a video and that there would be no problem, right? But all this shit came down about. That's what he said. That he was getting people calling him a child molester, pedophile, whatnot. And he said, I was the one that was in command of it all. That I was the one... I got the goddamn videos. I could show it again if you want me to. Right? He was the one saying that. I said, fuck that shit. I'm going to show this bullshit for what it is. I'm not going down as somebody's fall guy. I'm not going to be made a scapegoat of. And that's essentially it. Okay? I mean, what else more do you need to know? I've explained it all in other videos. It was all there. If you didn't get it, then I'm sorry, you didn't get it. Maybe I'll come back to some more Gratex stuff here in a minute. But this shocked me. This was a comment by Socrates that I just couldn't believe. First, the Narc Man says, ironically, the guy that HB blamed most for all of this, me, Dewada Man, seems to be the classiest one in the wake of HB's departure. Most of the rest have been made to look like racist idiots and are just here to pick at the carcass. Socrates amazingly says he agrees, except for the last part. I agree with almost everything but the last part. So, Socrates, you agree with the way that I handled this whole pedophile HB stuff. You agree with that. And that I've been the classiest one in the departure. It's just shocking to see that Socrates would make such a claim, because the whole time through all of this, I saw he was critical, highly critical of me, while at the same time giving a whole pass to HB. I addressed that in one other video, but I'll leave it at that for now. Unbelievable. Okay. Okay, so ReignbowSmite says, I agree that the claims shouldn't have been made. This was on Gratex's video. Without conclusive proof, but watching Dewada's videos and his previous comments to me and others, it's my opinion that he has racist and sexist inclinations. Well, that's fine. That's your opinion. He's almost right, but of course it's just, again, not supported, but whatever. He's almost never clear with what he means. Again, I think she suffers from authoritative disambiguation, just like Gratex. Then when he's caught making a fucked up comment, he claims he was trying to show people's PC's reactions. Okay, she's making reference to a coffin video. God. What is this with this thing when he's caught? HB said the same stuff about the comment regarding Boaz, that I was caught. These videos are open to the public, are they not? No, nobody's getting caught here. Right? Anybody can come see the comments. Nothing's being hidden here. For fuck's sake, man. Alright, so it's good that you agree that claims such as this and that and this and that should be supported with stuff, right? Well, I would hope that at some point you might have called HB out on that stuff, but I get the impression that you probably really didn't do that, did you? I don't know. I'm just making a guess. Sort of like Socrates. So let's talk about the race thing then here for a moment, and racism, and the nature of people, the nature of our existence as human beings. This is what and let me be very clear here for Gratex. This is what I believe, okay? I won't go into the whole thing because there's a lot of philosophy and shit to talk about behind it, and psychology and such, but let me just state it very clearly for you. I believe that nearly all people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay? I believe we go through life in a very naive state. We pick up on what things mean, like racism, and they're not examined very well by people at all. By most people. Nearly all. It's like the same, we often hear this on YouTube, right? This is everywhere. The word bigot is thrown around everywhere. It is my belief that people just use that as a term that makes them, that extricates them from being associated with that, with whatever it may be. So this person is a bigot, see? So I can say that to... What I'm really doing there is I'm telling my audience that I am not that. Some guy once said something about the unexamined life, right? We aren't truly skeptical of what we believe. We operate, and I see this in everyone, we essentially operate on myth, on communal myth. We just pick this shit up as we go through life, and we try to conform to that. Because if we don't, then we feel like an outcast, or we are criticized in some way, and we fear that. We fear shame and guilt and ultimately regret And we don't want to do that. So we conform to those around us and their mores and folkways. Yes? Without truly examining the base of it all. What is racism? Have you ever truly tried to understand what you think when you hear somebody talk in a certain way that makes you think that that person is what you think they are? Or are you just operating on basically automaton status? You know what this is, you know it when you see it, and you just go off of that, your emotional state, and you don't truly examine yourself and your own beliefs and why you believe what you believe. Doing that sort of thing takes a lot of work. It can also be very scary because you begin to find out how full of shit you've been your whole life. And we don't like to do that. We have our little ego selves tell ourselves, I couldn't have been wrong about this. Could I have? Oh, God. And we fret. We fret it. And so we conveniently forget about it and continue on. What is sexism? Where did the word come from? Who made it up? Why'd they make it up? What's it supported with? How do they justify it? And how do they justify that justification? What is it all based on? What's the core of it? Where does it lead to? Who says that this sort of thing is a sexism or a racism or this sort of ism? And who's right on that and who's not? Now, talking about race as applied to the human species, clearly, to some, just doing that is considered one should be ostracized for that they are a racist for that. Now, I could discuss concept formation, and I could discuss justification for how concepts are formed and things of this nature, but nobody wants to really have that discussion. They already have their race discussion in their brains, and they want to spew that out. They want to get it out. They want to say, look, see, I got this message already set up in this prepackaged message. I know how to deal with these so-called racists and what to do. And if I say the right things, people will like me. I'm not saying that the conversation can't happen. It can, and it has to some degree. But it obviously gets so mired in all this other bullshit that, well, such is the nature of the game, I guess. I mean, I often question people on things, and I never really get answers myself. Do people understand evolution? Okay, if I let's take 10,000 white people. We'll put it in crude terms like that. We'll take 10,000 white people, 10,000 Germans. I don't know, and we'll put them on another planet with a pretty radically different environment, but still supporting of human life. And we'll take 10,000 Zimbabweans, and we'll put them on another planet that is even more radically different than from that other planet. And we'll let them live there, and 10 million years later we'll come back, giving that they survived. Do you think you're going to see any differences between those people? Well, my guess is, yeah, you are. I get the feeling that people are so sensitive to this race thing that they are willing to almost state they don't. I'm making this up, right? I'm speculating here. I never heard anybody say this, but I get the feeling that if you press people on this, that that it almost seems like they come from a point where that if we did do that experiment, that they would actually say no, nothing would change. They would be the same. And there's a lot of psychology and bullshit behind the reasonings for that, for what I believe. We could talk about that more. But that's what the discussion is about race, and it's not about the actual taxonomic stuff, and some of it is, but I mean, a lot of that race debate that happened over the past few months, or that time, that Socrates often likes to reference, like somehow that race debate was in a vacuum somehow. Like, this shit hasn't been discussed for 150 fucking years, and won't be discussed for another 150 fucking years in so many different areas besides this one little moment on YouTube. It's just absolutely ridiculous to try to reduce it all to this. But yeah, so like I was saying, I get the feeling that people really do feel that way. Some people. And so in the face of that, you think there can be any actual debate? No, I don't think so. Not really. Holy cow, this is a really long video. I'm going to have to end this.